Good morning. It is Sunday, May 5th, about 8:30 in the morning, and I think it's just about 50 degrees now. We got an all-day rain yesterday, so the garden is nice and washed down, but that means that the Atlas roses got knocked about quite a bit, as you can see. The rose petals are all over, so I did try to get out and deadhead as much as I could before the storm, but oh well. It looks pretty anyway, but it was gorgeous just a couple days ago. I have the purple petunias, jazz something I think is called. And then I had hoped to buy a white spiked beeswell for this spot, but it just wasn't coming into my local garden center. So I purchased lyrical white salvia. Instead, I was looking for that contrast with the purple here, and then behind that I have some Echinacea purpurea that I plan to plant behind it, so to get that layering effect of the lower purple with the spiked white and then the taller Echinacea behind it. On this side of the Kona Bear Trail I planted Super Bina sparkling amethyst that I ordered from Proven Winners Direct, and it is not doing well. I planted verbena last year in the main circle where the petunias are now. This year I planted a verbena that just didn't do well, and I assumed it was because I bought a generic. So I splashed out with the extra money and ordered the plants, because we don't usually get these in our area, and bought those to put here, hoping that I could create a beautiful swath of color along this area. My original vision was that the white, pink, and purple from the super verbena would be echoed across the pathway in the purple, white, and pink that I was planting there. So we'll see if that works out in the end. The other item I went ahead and purchased from Proven Winners Direct was the lemon coral sedum, and I didn't have a specific place in mind for it, and this is where I'm currently considering putting it between the verbena in case the verbena doesn't come together the way I'd hope. I am still in love with this path. I think it just brought the perfect structure to the space and makes it just a wonderful little destination to head towards, and really draws your eye back into the garden. The salvias I moved from the circle are both looking really happy. The circle is really coming into bloom. We have quite a few beautiful flowers coming in. This scarlet Idris Echinacea right here, I tried to have that drift flow all the way through the bed. I think this is the blue marble salvia. I transplanted it from over there to this section here. Two of them took, one of them died, so this is the new one. These are the Asian orchid salvias here, and they have the cutest, most delicate flower. This year I followed Linda Vatter's pinching method to try and have a thicker root ball or a thicker base, because these plants were really spindly last year. Also, this is one of the plants I moved in a video previously. It had been over there, and I brought them over here to have like a drift, I guess is what it's called. Planted an African daisy here, one that has a white top and a yellow base. So once all these poppies die back, I'm gonna put two more in here to have another drift of the white. Village has turned into a sea of California poppies themselves. I waited a little while to come out this morning so they would be open. As you can see, some of them are still closed because they close up in the evening and they open up when the sun comes up. And some have already finished blooming and are forming their seed heads, but they go all the way down, about halfway down the wall here. There's one small tuft down at the end there, and of course they're all mixed in down here in this area across the path. I keep telling myself I'm not gonna let this happen. And then I see the foliage and I can't bring myself to pull it out. At the end of the holiday season in December, I saw lemon cypresses on sale at Home Depot that people were supposed to purchase for little tiny Christmas trees, and I bought 3. So I've planted them around the yard in spaces that should get afternoon shade. Here is a couple of the transplanted foxgloves. My blue arrow juniper is super spread. This is not the way it's supposed to look. When I asked at the garden center what to do, they suggested that I bind it so that it doesn't spread too much, because I had intended for this to stay pretty tight in size. The bearded iris here is pretty much done. The daylilies are about to bloom. These beautiful Del Oro yellow daylilies, the orange rocket, and the double play candy corn spirea here is about to bloom as well. I did a hard prune on that plant this spring because it just looked really bad last year, so I'm hoping that rejuvenated it. It was a relatively new plant, but it just didn't look right last year. I'm hoping this is visible to everyone. I know I'm looking into the sun, but I just love walking down the path and looking at all the plants. The lemon balm has spread quite a bit, and I'm planning to remove a bunch of it and replace it with more perennials like a euonymus or a boxwood or something like that. But it's just a beautiful little walk through the area, really enjoying how everything looks. One of the other things I purchased was 2 more of these sea lavenders. Now, I see these around my neighborhood. They seem super hardy and able to handle the heat. And they keep these flowers, and they're like a status, I guess. They're not soft. I think they just dry like this. They might dry a little lighter over time, but it maintains a really pretty canopy of color and flower even when it dies back. This foliage here is daffodil foliage. I actually separated them probably at the wrong time of the year. I think you're supposed to wait till they die back, but I wanted to get them separated so we could mulch this area, so I just went ahead and did it anyway. The dwarf lavender is looking really nice. This first one, of course, isn't as healthy as the others. They may not be here next year. We'll have to decide on that one as we see how this goes over the summer and whether or not they do a second flush. Remember last year, the second flush didn't quite happen. So in this pot with the mint julep topiary, I bought some wave petunias and put those here. And I got a sweet potato vine from the Proven Winners Direct site and some alyssum, so I'm hoping this will be really beautifully full as the summer goes on and have a lot of cascading foliage. The salvia that was in that pot seems to have recovered. It's not quite as unhappy, although looks like a few of the branches got snapped in the rain, unfortunately, because they are kind of weak. Sad. I am excited to say I actually got a couple of flowers off of the sweet peas that I direct sowed. So these 2 right here are the direct sows. The other 2 are the ones I bought, but we have some beautiful flowers coming up. Some beautiful flowers coming up. The dwarf Gara has recovered, and I pulled out all the pansies and replaced them with the Super Mini Vista petunia, or Calibacoa, I believe it's called, here. And so I'm hoping that'll fill up the space and provide the shade for the roots of the sweet peas. And this is also another sweet potato vine, and I put one down there. But I think this is gonna look pretty amazing with the pink from the Gara, the beautiful color from the sweet peas, a carpet of white, and then the cascade of the sweet potato vine. And I got more of the pink bacopa and put that in here. The overwinter bacopa looked okay, but it didn't seem to be taking off after I transplanted it. I am going to say my pruning was a success. I mean, wow. In a certain light, this thing just glows. It is so beautiful. So I will share a photo of what this looked like last year. The center was empty of flowers last year, and after going to the rose pruning workshop, I asked the branches up the arbor, and now I think maybe there could be more roses down at the bottom, but I think it filled in really nice. It doesn't look empty this year, but these flowers are gorgeous. I was hoping they would have a scent, but they don't. They're a heavy petal or a strong petal, lots of petals. I can't remember how many, but it's a thick petaled rose. So that means that, from what I understand, bees are not interested in this rose because of the petal count. They can't get into them very well. So one of the things I'm excited to share is that the Shasta daisies actually came back this year. They're looking really strong and healthy. This last spring, I moved them over here. I put a couple here and a couple here on this side. That one died, this one took, and these are in the process of budding up. Not all of them, but they're looking really good, and I think I might actually get a nice display of flowers this year. The variety of bearded iris is just gorgeous. It produces this kind of purple and light purple flower. They are about to go out of bloom right now, but they do have a beautiful look to them with the yellow throat, the light pink, and then the light purple and the dark pink. Behind that is all the reseeded foxglove, and again, this has never worked for me before, but I have foxglove all over this space, and then in front of it is the purple pincushion flower. Now, what I have noticed this year is that everything is pushing forward. In the past, these were all looking more straight up, so I'm not sure if that has to do with the fact that the rose is better this year and maybe they're not getting enough sun. I've shared this plant before as well. This is a comfrey plant. It's a perennial. It comes back here every year, although I did see maybe it's seeded for the first time because this is a spread. It's never spread before. It's only ever come back from this spot, but it produces delicate blooms as well, kind of like a borage plant. Everything looks really beautiful from both directions. This rose is just phenomenal, especially backed by the foxglove and the pincushion flower. The square area is taking shape as well. I've ended up buying new Nepeta, I think I mentioned that already, to fill in there because the old one just wasn't returning. I think it got too wet. We planted some yellow petunias here. My plants did get attacked by that little beetle that we get in our area. It's not the Japanese beetle, it's a different one. I transplanted that geranium from the other side of the arbor, and I did grab a couple foxgloves from the foxglove patch and put them here, and then I moved 2 of the echinacea back, and I have some echinacea seed going for white echinacea I plan to put in this area here. So it'll be kind of purple, yellow, white, and then 1 pop of pink. Probably not quite right. Actually, I don't know what color the foxglove are because there are a variety of colors over there. The east side of the house is looking really good. I planted some white begonias here, and in this pot here with a lily. I'll put the type of lily on the screen. It is super pretty. I really love the flower. Got one of the lemon cypresses. I moved all the pansies here. If they don't survive, that's fine, but they won't get afternoon sun, so they might actually make it through some of the summer over here. And then my first clematis here. I've never had one before. So we'll see what happens. I think it's maybe behind most things. The ones in the store are all blooming. Having a clematis before, I actually didn't realize that it was going to wrap around everything. I thought I was going to have to do it manually, but it wraps around by itself. The limelight hydrangea is looking really good. I'm sure it's really happy after the rain. I don't have any flowers showing yet. It's not budding up, but it's kind of early for us to have buds in our area. This shrub catalpa is budding up though. This guy has some beautiful little blooms, and if I remember correctly, they are like a little orchid shaped, pink orchid shaped flower. So this should look really interesting later in the summer. It's filling in really slowly, but I think it's going to be a great addition to the space. The last of the items on the east side of the house are reblooming azaleas here that I got last year at Home Depot on a good sale. I thought they were super pretty and they have been looking beautiful. I was worried that they weren't going to get enough sun to bloom, but they did it perfectly. And one more of the lemon cypress. The lemon tree has been in bloom and buzzing with bees and dropping all its old lemon. I have shared this before, but these things are massive. I mean, look at the comparison to my hand. I mean, this is almost like, it's bigger than a Nerf football at this point. It's huge. That is it for my tour today. Thank you for joining me for my garden journey, and I'll see you in the next one.